Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you all to the Tuesday, September 24th Placer County Board of Supervisors meeting. Particularly want to welcome Michaela Graham from Granite Prairie High School. Will be here to observe our meeting today, so I pray that you all will be on your best behavior. We will now be, Supervisor Duran will not be here today because he's away on business, and we will begin with the flag salute led by Supervisor Guler.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, Michaela, that's what happens when you show up. So,
well, District 4's got to represent.
I know.
That's what I'm saying.
So, thank you for being here. Will the clerk please read the statement of meeting procedures?
Welcome to the Placer County Board of Supervisors meeting of Tuesday, September 24th, 2013. Agendas are available on the wall outside this meeting room. If you are here to speak on an issue not appearing on the agenda, you may do so during the public comment period. There's a 3-minute time limit per speaker. The board is not permitted to take action on items addressed under public comment. When you speak, clearly state your name and address for the record. All items on the agenda will be open for the public to address before final action is taken. There is a 3-minute time limit per speaker, which will be monitored by a timer on the podium. If there is a person speaking on behalf of a group with no other testimony from another member of the group, please identify yourself as such, and your time may be extended at the pleasure of the board. Keep in mind that the chairman has the discretion of limiting the total discussion time on any item. If you are hearing impaired, we have listening devices available. It is requested that all cell phones be turned off or put in the silent mode. Thank you for your participation and cooperation.
Thank you, Ms. Holman. Now is the time for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board on any item that is not on the agenda? If so, please come forward, state your name. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Carol Rubin, 2079 Country Hill Run in Newcastle. At the last Lincoln MAC meeting, we learned that a brewery has been permitted to open a tasting room under the winery ordinance in the rural Lincoln area, even though this brewery doesn't grow any grapes, nor does it make any wine. It's on a parcel-zoned farm, and it's served by a narrow, shared, private gravel access. The neighbors assert that it's operating as a de facto bar, especially on Friday evenings. We also have at least 2 wineries in farm zoning that are serving restaurant meals from their tasting rooms, meaning that anybody can walk in at any time and get a complete meal independent of the wine tasting function. Restaurants and bars are not permitted uses in farm zoning. And I have an inquiry into planning asking why these uses were allowed and why code enforcement hasn't cited these establishments, and I'm awaiting a response. So my question to you is, are restaurants and bars your vision for the future of rural Placer County? These issues are the reason the grand jury report required clarification of the winery ordinance and improved code enforcement. Yes, yet these questionable determinations by planning persist. Allowing wineries to act as restaurants and breweries to be conflated with wineries and act as bars reinforces our suspicion that these applicants get what they want at planning and that the Placer County zoning code and the rights of other rural residents are discounted. Thank you, and I have some documentation I'll leave here with the clerk.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board under public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and turn to supervisor committee reports. Are there any reports from supervisors? Supervisor Montgomery.
Yes, not technically a supervisors committee report, but today is Chairman Holmes' birthday, and I hope you will all join me in singing happy birthday to him and publicly humiliating him. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jim. Happy birthday to you. Woohoo! And then just to publicly humiliate in advance, a year in advance, another county supervisor here, it's my understanding that Supervisor Euler registered yesterday for next year's Ironman in Lake Tahoe, and so we will have our own Ironman participating next year. We did go out this weekend, about 40 of us with Placer County, and help support the athletes at a bike special needs station. It was a very long day. It was about 12 hours, but it was absolutely delightful. I encourage anyone to volunteer next year. It was just incredibly rewarding, and to see these athletes participate in, work toward their own personal bests, whether that was, a completion of the race or just participating, was absolutely incredible. And I'm just delighted that Supervisor Euler is going to be out there representing us next year, whizzing by on his bike, yelling his number as he goes. So, Kirk, did you want to add anything to that?
This is one of those things that if anybody gets up in the morning and they step on the scale and they go, that just doesn't look right, and they don't think they can do anything about it. I hit that about 4 or 5 years ago, and I said, okay, I'm going to go and start running. And my road from my house to the end of my road at Auburn Folsom is 0.3 of a mile, and I couldn't make it from my house to the end of my road without stopping and walking. And this May, I competed in the Auburn Triathlon, the world's toughest half. So I got 70.3 miles under my belt in that one, and decided, just seeing the inspiration, the motivation that came from those athletes, I'd hoped that I would have been ready to participate in the inaugural event at Tahoe this year. But the time for training is it's intense how much time you have to spend training, and this summer didn't allow for it. So I'm $700 into it at this point, so I got to do it next year.
Congratulations. And thank you, Supervisor, for your kind words. Okay, now we'll move to consent agenda. We've been asked to pull item 18A regarding the North Tahoe Fire District. We will bring that back probably at our October 22nd meeting in Tahoe, so that will be pulled. And we'll ask for approval of anybody in the audience wish to take anything off the consent agenda for discussion. Seeing none? I'll bring it
Move
back.
approval of consent agenda minus item 18A.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda minus item 18A. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Montgomery?
Yes.
Wygant? Euler?
Abstain?
Holmes?
Yes. All righty, thank you. We'll now move to our first department item. Administrative service, blanket purchase order, administrative services, central services. Brett Wood, Ren Brammer. Where's everybody going?
Good morning, Chairman Holmes, Supervisors. My name is Brett Wood. I'm your purchasing manager. With me today is Mr. Ben Bramer of the Procurement Services Division, and this is Leslie Blagg, the Central Services Division Manager. We're here today with you to discuss the approval of a 3-year capital lease with Toshiba for multifunction copier devices in the aggregate amount of $2.4,009,522. We're also requesting that you add the necessary components to the county's master fixed asset list and approve a change order to our existing blanket purchase order with Toshiba to allow for the implementation of these services from now through November 30th to allow us to appropriately install them. And then also asking for your approval for the purchasing manager and the central services manager to take all necessary actions throughout the term of the contract. Mr. Ben Bramer is going to present the background on this item, and then we'll be happy to stand for any questions you may have.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Honorable Board. For the past 7 years, Central Services managed a blanket purchase order with Toshiba Business Solutions for 240 multifunction copier devices used throughout the county to support their copier, scanning, printing, faxing needs. Over the past 7 years, technology has improved to offer color capabilities, as well as remote and secured printing, which allows individuals to retrieve printed or copied documents from any device that's connected to a county network. This is through the use of a county or employee badge. Toshiba has indicated that the life expectancy of a copier device runs 8 to 10 years, at which time the parts and supplies of the devices start to become obsolete. So due to our aging fleet and these new technologies, Central Services requested procurement assistance in obtaining a new contract. Procurement Services reviewed our options and determined that utilizing the cooperative agreement would allow us to leverage pricing from a larger agency's competitive solicitation. Our preference was to contract with a firm that's been awarded one of these cooperative contracts that the county could use. We've contacted firms representing the Canon, Xerox, Ricoh, and Toshiba brands. Combined, these brands represent approximately 71% of the copier market, so we've figured we have a wide range that we can look at. The county received 4 solutions from 3 firms. Each of the firms is either currently under contract or have contracted with the county in the past. And each of the firms were invited, were given the county's minimum specifications and contract requirements. And based on the evaluation, Toshiba Business Solutions were the most competitively priced. The proposed solutions based on the Los Angeles World Airport's contract pricing, and the solution meets the county's current network standards and will improve the overall reliability of the county's multifunction devices, as well as meet the county's future volumes. The purchase plan calls for Central Services to obtain the equipment through the use of a 3-year capital lease. At the end of the lease, the county has the option to purchase the equipment through a $1 buyout program. We determined 85 of these devices are considered fixed assets, so those are the devices that are going to be put in the county's fixed asset master list. At the end of the 3 years, the county's also looking at exercising 1 or 2 one-year maintenance renewals, and this will ensure that the equipment is meeting our county standards or continue to meet our operating in our county standards. Toshiba will work with Central Services to recommend the most cost-effective device configurations for each of the department, and it's anticipated that a transition period will be for 60 days. And in order to meet this transition period, your board's approval is required to extend the current BPO with Toshiba through November 30th, 2013, and increase the BPO amount by $55,864 to cover expenses through that extended period. And your board's approval is also required to authorize the purchasing manager and Central Services Division Manager to execute any contract-related documents resulting from this recommendation. And upon your board's approval, new contracts will be awarded in the total aggregate amount of $2,409,522. The final lease agreement pricing will be based upon the final device counts requested by each of the departments. That concludes the presentation. Do you have any additional questions?
Any questions from board members? I just have a question about, as computers and smartphones, they seem to change overnight. This equipment is going to be durable. We won't have to exchange them for, in the next 2 years because the world's changed. And you feel confident that they'll be adequate for the next several years?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address this item? Hearing none, we'll bring it back to the board for action. It's been moved and seconded to approve item 5, administrative services, blanket purchase order, administrative services, central services, items 1, 2, 3, and 4. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. The item is moved.
Thank you.
Now is time for our 9:15 timed item. We're asked to have a presentation of the, what is this, the the Certificate of Achievement Award of Excellence in Financial Reporting for the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2012. It will be presented to Andrew Sisk, the Placer County Auditor Controller, and Joanne Michaels Aguilar will give us, it's Joan, I'm sorry.
Joan, correct, yes.
Aguilar.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, honorable supervisors. As the chair indicated, my name is Joan Michaels Aguilar. I currently serve as the Deputy City Manager for the City of Dixon, as well as a board member for the Northern California CSMFO. If you're not familiar, that's the California Society of Municipal Finance Officers. I am honored to be here today on behalf of the Government Finance Officers Association to present the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to the County of Placer. This achievement program has been in operation since 1946. The purpose of this program is to encourage and assist governments to prepare financial reports of the highest quality for the benefits of citizens and other parties with a vital interest in government's finances. During the half century the program has operated, it has gained widespread recognition as the premier indicator of excellence in governmental accounting and financial reporting. To earn this Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting, the County of Placer had to substantially conform to the program's demanding criteria, which go well beyond the minimum requirements of generally accepted accounting principles. This is not the first time the County of Placer has received this honor. Today's presentation marks the 12th consecutive year that the County of Placer has received this Certificate of Achievement. Such a record reflects the professionalism and commitment of numerous individuals, as well as many hours of hard work. It also reflects a high degree of dedication and leadership on the part of the Placer County Board of Supervisors. The Government Finance Officers Association hopes this award to the County of Placer will serve as an example and encourage others to strive for the same high standards in their own financial reports. As a finance professional going through an audit this week as we speak, I know that Andy over here is leading the charge to receive this award, but it takes a lot of hard work for the staff to get to this level. Therefore, it is my privilege on behalf of the Government Finance Officers Association to present to the County of Placer this Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. I will ask Andy to come to the podium and let the supervisors see this,
All right.
as well as for you, and congratulations. And
Good morning, Chairman Holmes, members of the board, David, Jerry. It's an honor to receive this award, and as I was reflecting back and you think about the 12 years that we've received this award consecutively, that takes me back to the year 2001 when I met my former boss, Kathy Martinez, and it was Kathy said two things in 2001. I was the audit manager from the CSG&E, and so the first thing she said didn't warm my heart because she said, Andy, you guys have been compiling the set of financial statements for $20,000 a year, and no longer am I going to pay $20,000 for your firm to compile the statements. We are going to do that now. And number two, I want to achieve the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting. I'm looking to you and the firm to get us to that level. 2 years later, of course, Kathy hired me, and here I am today. And yes, I'm definitely proud to receive the award, but really my pride really is with the staff, because it's the staff that really have learned how to compile a set of financial statements to meet this highest level of excellence of financial reporting. Sandy Baza, Marcy Glisson, Elena Gagne, Carol Hearn are just to name a few in my office that have an integral part in putting this CAFR together. And it really does touch every member in my department, and really touches every accountant in the county, because everybody has a hand in putting that financial data into the system, which I get the privilege of producing it in a document that gets an award. So again, thank you very much. I'm honored to receive this and appreciate it.
Thank you. Now it's a photo time, Andy. Yeah. Oh, no, it's just like Andy, before you go, I just wanted to thank you for your service and the job that you're doing as our county auditor. I know you're reaching out to some of the other districts to help them along, but there's a test. You have to introduce, I know you mentioned their names, but I think would you introduce your staff that's here to support you?
Yes, let me turn around. I've got Nicole Howard, my Assistant Auditor Controller, Jane Gouldy, my Property Tax Manager, who's been with the county 38 years, Marcy Glisson, who I mentioned, who's one of my lead accountant auditors that compiles the footnotes to the financial statements, and Rochelle Nufuente, who we're now training behind Marcy to kind of learn the financial statements, and then my Executive Assistant, Barbie Vigil.
Thank you for all your hard work in allowing the Auditor's Department to receive this award. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now, the board will move to our 9:20 timed item, Agriculture, Placer Grown Week. To proclaim the week of October 5th through the 13th to celebrate Placer Grown Week and encourage all citizens to support our local farmers and ranchers throughout the designated week and beyond by purchasing local grown agricultural products. Ms. Carol Arnold, hi.
Hi.
So I have this proclamation that I'm going to read to you.
Okay.
September 24th, 2013, that's a special day, you know. In the matter of a proclamation designating October 5th through October 13th as Celebrate Placer Grown Week. Whereas Placer County agricultural production forms a significant portion of the local economy through over $70 million in gross sales and more than twice that in total economic activity. And whereas Placer County is home to a vast range of crops such as rice, timber, walnuts, nursery stock, mandarins, strawberries, tomatoes, wine grapes, and a host of others. And whereas Placer County's livestock industry provides a great source of healthy local meats and also benefits the environment through fuel load reduction, vernal pool ecology, and other habitat enhancements. And whereas Placer County's farmers and ranchers are hardworking individuals who are good stewards of their land and maintain it for agricultural production and future generations. And whereas Placer County certified farmers markets provide a venue for the county's residents and visitors to buy the freshest local product directly from the farmers who produce it. And whereas Placer County is home to the Gold Country Fair and Placer County Fair with a junior livestock auction, which provide a venue every year for hundreds of 4-H and FFA students to experience real hands-on learning and entrepreneurships. And whereas Placer County's farms and ranches are beautiful places that are wonderful to visit, and whereas Placer County's local crops and livestock are the source of the highest quality, freshest food available to Placer County residents, and whereas Placer County's local agricultural industry depends on direct sales of farm products to the local community in order to maintain economic sustainability. Now therefore let it be known that the Placer County Board of Supervisors declares the week of October 5th through October 13th to be Celebrate Placer Grown Week and encourages all citizens to support their local farmers and ranchers throughout the designated week and beyond by purchasing locally grown agricultural products. Congratulations. I'm pleased to present this to you. With you to join us? Yeah. Give this to you. Keep it upright. All right. And please, if you wish to say a few words, we will.
Okay, thank you. Chairman Holmes and the Board of Supervisors, I'm here today to say thank you for all of your support of agriculture. When Jim said hardworking, I can testify to how hardworking our ranchers and producers really are. I also want to thank our partners, Josh Hunsinger in the Department of Agriculture, Cindy Fake, and Roger Ingram, UC Cooperative Extension, the fine advocacy groups that are working so hard for agriculture, Placer County Vintners Association, Mountain Mandarin Growers, there's the cattle people and the sheep people, and there's just so many people to thank, and I think everybody's working really, really hard to keep agriculture economically viable in Placer County. So I just want to say thank you for the recognition.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll now move to item 6, Health and Human Services. Item A, Adult System of Care Contract, California Forensic Medical Group Incorporated. Maureen Bauman presenting.
From Health and Human Services, Probation, and the Sheriff. It's a request that includes 3 actions to continue the services of the California Forensic Medical Group, CFMG, the provider of health care services in the jail and juvenile hall. I want to mention that Sheriff Bonner and Captain Wayne Wu and Superintendent Jeff Kane are all in the audience in support of this item. The actions we're asking for you to consider are A, to approve a contract in the amount of $3,658,000 plus a per diem rate of $4.57 per day for each inmate or ward that is in excess of a combined total of $540 for no county cost from October 2013 through September 30th, 2014. Also to approve the Department of Health and Human Services Director to sign subsequent amendments up to $49,000. B, to approve an option to continue this contract for an additional 1-year term using the increase of the Medical Care Consumer Price Index at the county discretion, if that's desired. And then C, to approve an option to increase health care services for the South Placer Adult Correctional Facility for a monthly increase of $104,325, effective upon the operational expansion of this facility. So as you know, inmate health care services are required by the Placer County Jail and Juvenile Detention Services, and they include primary medical care, dental care, pharmaceuticals, mental health, acute hospital care, and specialty care to the current population of approximately 600 inmates and 30 wards. This new contract continues the terms of the current contract that expires September 30th, 2013. It was increased based on the Consumer Price Index that's agreed to in the contract and has been used for several years, and that number was 1.72 increase in terms of the contract increase over prior year. CFMG has been a long-term, high-performing contractor in Placer County, as evidenced by its demonstrated ability in running the program and success of obtaining and retaining certification for the medical quality improvements, which is a certification specifically for jail services. There is going to be a cost reduction this year with the Affordable Care Act options. So those inmates that are eligible for a Medi-Cal, if they receive hospital services outside the institution, will be eligible to get reimbursed for Medi-Cal. And the structure of the contract will require CFMG to reimburse us that cost if they are not if they're not required to pay for the services of that inmate, which we expect they will not be. Placer County continues to support contracting these services as we feel that it maximizes the cost effectiveness of the program. And risk management concurs that CFMG has reduced the county's liability through the transfer of risk in this contract agreement. There has been discussion about the timing of a request for proposal for the services since it's been a long-standing contract, and particularly with the expansion of services into the South Placer adult correctional facilities. It has been recommended by our procurement department that this be delayed until the South Placer Correctional Facilities reaches a stable inmate population, believing that that way will maximize the effectiveness of a competitive process. Because clearly we know with checking over the years that size does make a difference in terms of the competitive process. So this contract does provide for a base population of 540 adult inmates in juvenile wards, but has a maximum capacity of 676 total, again, based on that per day charge for folks based on actual census each quarter. And the service levels are budgeted to stay the same until the expansion of the South Placer Adult Correctional Facilities. At that time, the base population for this contract will be increased to 660 adult inmates or juvenile wards, with a maximum capacity up to 755. The increased capacity, as you know, includes the relocation of the barracks down to the South Placer facility, resulting in a net increase of 80 inmates. The Placer County Sheriff and Probation Department support this contract. In addition, County Council Risk Management and CEO have reviewed and approved it. So the fiscal impact, this current contract includes an annual base rate of $3,659,000, and the per diem, if it's maximized, would be estimated at $167,000 annual dollars. The funding is included in the Sheriff and Probation's Department 13-14 budgets of $3,851,000. That would include the potential expansion targeted for May. Of course, that won't be put in place until the actual program is established, as well as assuming that there is a per diem cost on top of the current contract amount. The budget, again, it's assuming that it happens in May, but the cost will actually occur when it actually is opened. And the balance of the funding will be budgeted in the 14-15 requested budgets. So with that, we would recommend approval, but would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from board members? I just have one comment. You asked us to authorize the Director of Health and Human Services to sign subsequent amendments up to a cumulative total of, you said 49,000, it's 49,999.
Yes, sir.
So just wanted that for the record.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the board on this item? All righty, we'll bring it back to the board for action. It's been moved and seconded to approve items 6A, 1, 2, and 3. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The item is moved. Thank you. We will now move to our 9:30 timed item, Community Development Resource Agency Planning. Item A, Regional University Specific Plan Fee and Reimbursement Program. Michael Johnson.
Good morning. Michael Johnson with the Community Development Resource Agency. The request before you is the approval of a specific plan fee and reimbursement program for the Regional University project. Back in December of 2008, the Board of Supervisors approved the specific plan for Regional University. That plan included a university campus site along with adjoining residential, commercial, and office land uses. During the preparation of the specific plan, as it might be expected, the project proponent accumulated a lot of debt associated with the retention of consultants needed to prepare the required analyses for the project. As provided for in Section 65456 of the State Government Code, the county may adopt a specific plan fee as a mechanism to allow project applicants to recover costs associated with the preparation of a specific plan. Back in December of 2012, the Board of Supervisors took action to approve a specific plan fee and reimbursement agreement for Regional University. The agreement outlines the steps necessary to analyze and establish a specific plan fee for that project. Consistent with the provisions of that agreement, the funding parties for the specific plan prepared a detailed analysis of all costs associated with the preparation of the specific plan. That documentation was presented to the county in the form of 4,145 pages of all costs associated with the preparation of the specific plan. Staff has gone through and reviewed that documentation and has concluded that, based upon the information presented, $9,610,000 of the costs are directly related to the preparation of the specific plan. 9 million, pardon me, 610,000. It could. And are appropriate for reimbursement. Thank you, Mr. Euler.
Oh, I just said it. Everybody was thinking.
Based upon the charges that are appropriate for reimbursement, the county retained the services of the firm Urban Economics to prepare a specific plan fee and reimbursement program for the project. The reimbursement plan looked at the appropriate land uses to be included in the fee disbursement. Based upon law set forth in 65456 of the State Government Code, the following land uses were excluded from inclusion in the fee. Those would be the university-related land uses, including the faculty and retirement housing, agricultural-related uses, open space, and all public and quasi-public land uses, including open space, parks, and landscape corridors. In preparing the fee reimbursement program, the consultant looked at how best to distribute the fee It can be done on a dwelling unit equivalent basis or a per acre basis. The consultant concluded that the per acre basis was the most appropriate mechanism and the easiest mechanism for implementation. Based upon the analysis, it was identified that 337.7 acres of land would be appropriate for inclusion of the fee. Based upon the analysis, it was concluded that the fee would be $29,170 per acre for the land within the specific plan area. As noted in the analysis prepared by Urban Economics, it's anticipated that some costs previously occurred have not been included with this. There may be changes in land uses to the specific plan. In anticipation of such occurrences, a provision has been included in the resolution before the board, and this is item 3 on page 11 of your board packet, which allows for additional costs to be submitted to the county for consideration for reimbursement, subject to reconsideration by the Board of Supervisors and the adoption of a subsequent resolution. There will be no fiscal impact to the county with the adoption of this fee reimbursement program. As stated in your staff report, a 2.5% administrative fee has been included, which will cover all county costs associated with the implementation of the fee reimbursement agreement. Staff does recommend that your board approve the resolution as set forth before you. It was brought to staff's attention that during the printing process of the staff report, the last page of the action was omitted. That has been provided to you, so you have the complete action for your consideration this morning. Staff is available to respond to any questions the board may have.
Any questions from board members? Seeing none, this is a public hearing. I'll open up the public hearing and entertain anybody that wishes to come forward and present regarding this item. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Tim Tarrin. I'm here on behalf of the funding parties, which is that list of individuals that's in your staff report in the agreement that was entered into between the county and the funding parties back in December. Long list of individuals. I really don't have anything to say in the way of comment other than to thank your staff for a lot of good work. It took longer than we expected, but that was justified given the volume of the documentation. And of course, we're in support of the staff recommendation and are willing and able to answer any questions you may have today. So thank you for your consideration today. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions from board members? I see none. So we'll bring it back to the board for action.
Move the secret determination and the adoption of the resolution.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 9:30 timed item, Community Development Resource Agency Planning, Regional University Specific Plan Fee and Reimbursement Program. All those in favor, please say aye.
I just want to clarify that the motion included the findings on pages 4 and 5. They were added to the agenda this morning.
So we're good?
Yes.
All right. Okay, the motion is passed. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for, Michael, thank you for the hard work your staff has done on putting this together. Appreciate it. Wow. Thank you. Bye. Yeah, so now we'll move to item number 7, Public Works, Kings Beach Commercial Core Improvement Project, Core of the Core Construction Phase Professional Services Agreement number 1153. You're not Peter Kratz.
Dan LaPlante, Stage and Screen.
Oh, I knew that. All right.
Welcome. I'm here this morning to present our item for the construction management services for the first phase of the Kings Beach Commercial Core Project, which we are calling the Core of the Core. In the item in front of you, in January 2012, in conjunction with the Department of Administrative Services, Procurement Services Division, we solicited through the Placer County website engineering proposals. 5 proposals were received and evaluated based on the project scope, understanding, schedule articulation, consultant experience, and expertise. Staff ranked CH2M Hill as the highest ranked proposal. Although CH2M Hill is based primarily out of Sacramento and Reno, their lead staff actually lives on the North Shore of Lake Tahoe. Other sub-consultants on the team are Nichols Consulting out of Reno, Nevada, PR Design out of Kings Beach, Holdridge and Cole out of Grass Valley, and the outreach team out of the Truckee area. The consultant services provided include typical construction management, inspection, material testing, and of course, public relations. In our case, the public relations is a very important thing because we're building these improvements within somebody's front living room, essentially. And so at this point, what we're trying to do is make sure that we are clear with the contractor, first off, what he can do, when he can do it. And what we did in our last public meeting is we brought forth to the community how we were planning to restrict the contractor during his activities based on what we heard from the community. And so it basically means they don't want to see us July and August. So it makes it difficult in the Tahoe area. Our outreach is really going to be focused on the construction activities and making sure that we have concise schedule information available for the community. And we're going to do that through what we're doing right now is email blasts or e-blasts. We have over 1,000 people on our list right now where we'll be supplying project information. We have a very robust website where we are providing not only all the information from the public meetings, but we're trying to put up as much of the pertinent information for the community to be able to look online and see those. We'll also be doing door-to-door activities during the construction, mailings, and we'll have a field office set up in town. The proposed construction management contract is just under $2.4 million and is at $2,394,125. The PSA is exempt from CEQA, but the project itself is environmentally cleared through NEPA, CEQA, and TRPA. The PSA is fully funded with various sources of state, federal, and local dollars. At this time, we would like to request the board's approval of action items number 1 and 2, which in summary includes the authorization of PSA number 1153 with CH2M Hill for the amount of $2,394,124 and to authorize the Director of Public Works to approve and sign amendments up to $239,413. At this point, I'm available to answer any questions about the item or any general questions about the project. And then I guess I also wanted to say that this afternoon is a time we've been waiting for, which is actually the contractor bid opening for the project for the first phase. And we're anxious to get those bids. And at that point, we'll be spending the next couple of weeks evaluating those and then hope to be coming back to you in October for approval of that contract.
Good deal. Any comments from board members? Supervisor Montgomery.
I just want to say, Dan, thank you. Excellent presentation. I know the air is a little thick down here, so it's often difficult to think. But great presentation. Really appreciate the information, particularly about the subcontractors. It's good to see some local folks who are being hired as subcontractors within this process. If there's no other board questions, I would move approval.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board on this item before we take action? Yeah, I too am pleased that we're moving forward with this. This has been on our plate for quite a while, and it's nice to see it finally moving forward. Look forward to some action up in the Kings Beach area. The item has been moved and seconded. This is item 7, Public Works, Kings Beach Commercial Core Improvement Project, Core of the Core Construction Phase, Professional Services Agreement number 1153, 1 and 2. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the item is moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now move to item 8, Treasurer, Tax Collector, Squaw Valley Empower Application. Susan Hamilton is now. Oh, I thought I said. All right, good. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, County Executive, County Council. I have today 2 Empower-related items. The first one has to do with a specific application, and that is for retrofit improvements based on an application received from Squaw Valley LLC. We are asking for approval of this application in an amount not to exceed $730,000. The Empower Placer guidelines require that any applications in excess of $500,000 require the approval of the Board of Supervisors before final approval can be given. On page 2 of the staff report, the application criteria is listed, and Squaw Valley has met all of the application criteria. They are planning to make a number of improvements to the Gold Coast Lodge, which is a mid-mountain facility in the Squaw Valley Resort Complex. And that includes improvements to the water heating, to the air handling, to the heating. This is phase 2 of a series of retrofits that they are doing to the properties or to the facilities on that property. And they have engaged the services of Carbon Lighthouse, which is an energy management firm out of San Francisco, who has provided them a comprehensive retrofit plan. They have actually done phase 1 of that plan. They are now seeking financing for phase 2 of that plan, which are the retrofits to the Gold Coast Lodge. So we were asking for the board's approval, again, because the report and guidelines requires approvals over $500,000. I would ask that your approval be contingent upon completion of their application. For logistical reasons, they have a couple of more things to do before we can consider their application complete. However, they have met all of the criteria as it relates to the financing and improvements. They have a couple of more sign-offs that they need to get from their ownership group, and logistically they just were not able to complete that by today. We have gone ahead and kept this on the board agenda because they are trying to meet a timeline to get these improvements done before the snow season. So with that, I would ask for your approval, again, contingent upon the rest of the application being complete. And any questions?
Any questions from board members? See none. Anyone in the audience have any questions regarding this item? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for action.
I move that we approve Squaw Valley LLC's application dated 9/6/2013, contingent upon completion of application for energy efficiency retrofit financing with Empower Placer in the amount not to exceed $730,000.
It's been moved and seconded to move the item. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed, any abstentions? Hearing none, the item is moved. Thank you.
Great,
We'll
thank
now
you.
move to item B, Empower Program Expansion.
Okay, and as I start off this item, I'd like to take just a brief moment to give you an update on the county program. Since the board gave approval on July 9th, we have received 72 applications, and we have been able to authorize about a third of those applications, 24, and we have been able to fund 5 of those applications. The total applications are the total of all of the applications are $2.75 million, and of those, the 24 that have been authorized are about $750,000, and the amount that we have funded so far is $178,000. So the program is moving along. We receive applications almost daily. Monday morning is interesting because of the ability to submit applications online. We come in Monday morning usually with 2, 3, 4 applications. So things are moving, and staff is very, very busy with the applications and inquiries from contractors and providing informational seminars as well to the contractors and to the public. So when the board was first approached to consider the Empower program, there was discussion at that time about potential for expansion of the program to other jurisdictions. And in fact, there was a jurisdiction who sent a representative to express their interest in expansion into their jurisdiction at that time. We have continued to be contacted by other jurisdictions in the area about expanding our program. They have great interest in our program as an alternative to having an administrator and providing a program within their jurisdiction. So there are 4 items related to that that we are requesting your action and approval on. The first is to authorize the Treasurer Tax Collector to take the necessary actions to establish and administer programs in other jurisdictions. And then specifically, the second action item is to approve as to form the MOU that we will use with other jurisdictions. There are certain things in that form that are will have to be filled in, blanks, if you will, that need to be filled in from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, depending upon the size of the jurisdiction, whether they want a residential-only program, a commercial-only program, or both programs, those types of things. And so you would be approving that as to form and authorizing the Treasurer Tax Collector to execute those MOUs pending review and approval by County Council. And then it's not in your staff report, but I'd like to also add in there review and approval by the CEO's office as well. The third item is to authorize a budget revision in the amount of $100,192 to provide for additional expenses related to program expansion into other jurisdictions. A portion of that is for legal services related to the establishment of the program, which is the next item. Then there are also expenses related to additional administrative costs, and then also related to advertising, which are graphic design, printing, media purchase, and other outreach related expenses. That fourth item regarding the agreement with Jones Hall to provide legal services is in an amount not to exceed $43,000. That amount includes services for multiple jurisdictions. It's anticipated that it will be somewhere between $5,000 to $8,000 per jurisdiction to establish and implement and administer programs in other jurisdictions as part of the startup cost. In terms of cost to the county, again, we are financing this through the issuance of a TRAN and then achieving cost recovery through the application fee, and then also a portion of the interest that's charged on the assessments. And so we would look at fronting the costs for these other jurisdictions and then recovering those costs. We're looking for the other jurisdictions to provide certain support for the program, such as providing space from time to time for us to provide seminars to the public in their jurisdiction, and also to meet with contractors and property owners, small office space from time to time, to sign documents, that type of thing. So with that, I think that I've covered everything, and I'd take your questions at this time.
Supervisor Kimmer, did you have a question? You had your light.
I'm sorry.
No. Supervisor Euler.
Yes, sir. Jennifer, excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's Jennifer.
I was looking over there at her, not having it. No,
We got it.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Janine, obviously here in Placer County, ultimately our security in this is our process through the tax rolls. Would you explain how we have security if a property is not in our direct jurisdiction?
In the other jurisdictions, first of all, let me say that we intend to use a Mello-Roos structure, which is another land-based financing structure similar to the assessment district structure that we use here in Placer County. In both cases, a lien is filed against the property and therefore the security. And then, as part of our administration, at around the end of the fiscal year, we will be preparing a levy, just like we do in Placer County for ours, that lists all of the parcels that we need to collect the special tax on and the amount. In Placer County, we submit that to Andy Sisk, our auditor, and then it's added to the property tax roll. In the case of other jurisdictions, we would be preparing that levy, and we would be submitting that to the county auditor related to that jurisdiction. That county auditor will then add it to the property tax roll. It will be collected by the tax collector, and then the auditor does the property tax apportionment, and in that apportionment process, we will receive the amounts that are collected on that levy. And so the lien is still in place for us to act on, and the collection mechanism is the same historic mechanism that's been in place for these types of liens.
Okay, but the process that you just described and the force of law associated with it would be part of the operating agreement that we would have
Yes.
with any jurisdiction where they are
Yes.
contractually obligated to take whatever necessary steps to collect on any bad debt, if you would.
Right, right. There are provisions in that. We will work out the details on exactly how that will work and the timing, et cetera. But the bottom line is that property owner is executing a voluntary contract, that places a lien on the property for the collection of those special taxes. We use the existing mechanism, and then we have the ability to take action on that.
Thank you.
Any other questions from board members? Janine, do you expect to have additional staff, or do you have enough staff right now to handle this expansion?
At some point, I think we will need additional staff, not just for other jurisdictions, but quite frankly for our program. When we started the program in 2010, we had 4 processors, we had a program manager, and we had a clerical support person. Currently, we have two program specialists that are processing applications, and the management and the clerical support is then provided through my office right now. And so at some point, I would expect, yes, we will need to do that. Right now, we're kind of doing some, a little bit of overtime, a little bit of extra help, and we're trying to manage it. I'm taking a very cautious approach to adding staff. When in June, on June 18th, when I came to the board, I indicated that in order to recover costs that we had spent on the Empower Placer program through June 30th, we would need to have in place $3 million in assessments. We're now at $2.75 million in applications. Because of the seminars and the education that we do with the contractors, we have a very high rate of approval because things are very much screened for meeting qualifications before we get to before the applications get to us. In other words, the property owners and the contractors do a certain amount of self-screening. So we're well on our way to cost recovery. In order to cover expenses for Empower Placer program through the end of this fiscal year, based on our current budget, we will need another $1.4 million in assessments in place for a total of $4.5 million. So I know that was a long answer to your question.
So will you be leading the seminars as you go around, you personally, or will you have staff members?
Oh, no, staff does do most of those unless there's a specific request.
And if you do need additional staff members, will that come to the board for approval too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll need an update on that.
Yes, with a full update at that point.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, we would be working with CEO's office and our analyst, to work that out in advance of coming to the board.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Kirk, your light is still on. Are you? Sorry. Any other board member? Is there anyone in the
I'm
audience?
done with my questions to Jennifer.
Oh, okay, fine.
Thank you. I feel much better.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board on this item? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for action. It's been moved and seconded to approve item A8B, Empower Program Expansion, items 1, 2, 3, and 4. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Wygant. Montgomery. Holmes.
Aye. Thank you. The item is moved. Hey, wow. Now we're ready for our 10 o'clock timed item. This is County Executive Organizational Development. Item 4A, Combined Giving. We're being asked to adopt a resolution proclaiming October 2013 as Placer County Combined Giving Campaign Month and approve voluntary employee participation in the campaign, presenting Dr. Burton and Susan Hamilton from the Community Health Charities. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman and Board. It's certainly a privilege here today to introduce this item. Placer County, I've been working here over 17 years, and what impressed me when I first started working here is the community-mindedness of all the residents and certainly the employees that work here. It seems like almost there's hardly a week that goes by that I don't hear one story or another from an employee that is volunteering their time with their church, their synagogue, their mosque, a community organization, or just in some nature all on their own, just with their neighbors. And it's that kind of community spirit that's been demonstrated here in Placer County for a number of years that we're here to celebrate today and encourage to build on as we move forward with the combined campaign. The other idea that occurred to me as I was thinking about this morning is the board already acknowledged earlier about how September is Recovery Month. And in Recovery Month, a couple of concepts that are common in recovery is that every day is a new day for a fresh start, and that people can achieve outcomes that they thought were impossible by living in community, sharing their stories, and learning from the stories of others. And so as we look forward to this next year in the combined campaign, I would encourage all of us. I think those are great concepts to live by. And for us to be able to look forward to every day is a new day. This is a new year for renewed interest. There's certainly more employee involvement this year in the campaign, and we'll hear more about details how people can get even more involved. And then also for employees to share their stories with each other. Share stories of how they've benefited, how their family, loved ones, neighbors have benefited from community organizations and nonprofits that they're able to contribute to. Share stories about how they participated and contributing things like the Animal Services Trust Funds, the Open Space Trust Funds, the Educational Trust Fund here in the county that really provide opportunity and benefits to community residents that are otherwise not available throughout the county apart from these kind of combined giving campaigns. So I encourage us all to reflect on our past successes as a county employee group and look forward to the future and see how we could contribute even greater as we move forward. And I'd like to acknowledge and invite Susan Hamilton now to come and share some specifics about how employees can be more involved in this next month in the campaign.
Thank you, Dr. Burton. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting us in today. I'm Susan Hamilton with Community Health Charities of California. I am here representing all the federations that are asking to be part of your campaign this year. That's United Way, that's Earthshare of California, Metropolitan Arts, and of course Community Health Charities, as well as your local charities here, the Placer County Foundation, Open Space, your Employee Scholarship Fund. But we're going to show you a short video now of what the power of your past generosity has done. Your employees have a long history of giving through this campaign, and we would like to strengthen that and build upon that. There were a couple of years it didn't happen for a variety of reasons, and now it's coming back and growing again, and we're so happy to be back involved with your employees. And I'll tell you more about what your employees are planning. They had a Genius Hour where they invited employees who wanted to participate to come in and share ideas about how to market this campaign. So let's start with a video, and then I'll tell you more about everything.
All right.
Okay? Okay.
Very nice, thank you.
Thank you. I wish I had a video from all the federations. I feel a little biased up here just talking about health. But your county is offering every employee a chance to give to a passion and a charity of their choice, not just health. The environment, maybe it's a local trail that they use every weekend and they would like to give to that organization. Maybe it's the library fund because it's the summer reading program that it benefits them. Maybe it is a food bank. Maybe it's the animal shelter. Maybe they're a big rescue family and they have 7 dogs in their house. We have we never dictate who anyone would contribute to, but we always want them to contribute. Your county has given these employees for many years the benefit of using payroll deduction to give to a charity of their choice. And many organizations don't do that. Many organizations, you're on your own and you write a check. And to write a check is hard these days. But payroll deduction is convenient. People often give more. It benefits the charities in the long run because the charities can budget for the year ahead. If they want to do a walk, if they want to do a beach cleanup, they know that money is going to come in a year from now, next September, because of this employee giving campaign. So your employees have put together a great group. They're coming up with some wonderful ideas on how to promote the campaign, how to inform everyone of their choices, and the goal is to increase participation. As I said earlier, you've raised $1.2 million over the years, and we are all very grateful. This is the support and fabric of our society. I have one quick story for you. My personal story is my personal charity is the Alzheimer's Association. My father-in-law is a retired dentist, and I've been married a long time. He's like my second dad, and he has Alzheimer's. And a couple of years ago, he was coming out to visit from Connecticut, and he was in the early stages. And we were nervous about his visit because of the time change. He wakes up at 6 o'clock there, that's 3 o'clock here. He was starting to wander. His language skills were starting to deteriorate. We weren't sure how to engage him. And I went to my local Alzheimer's office, and they have this wonderful library, and they sat me down, and I described the symptoms, and they gave me videos and tools and ways to educate my family, ways to keep him safe, ways to engage him. And we had 2 wonderful weeks together, and he was never able to travel again. So I am so grateful that they held my hand and my family's hand to educate us so we could enjoy his visit. So that's just one example. I'm sure all of you have examples of how a charity has helped you and your families. Maybe it was a local hospice organization. It could be anything. So thank you for considering this charitable giving campaign again. If any of you have donated in the past, I love looking at donors and saying thank you for your donation and participation. And hopefully this year we're going to have a great campaign. I could feel the momentum moving. You have some great champions internally, and all of us will benefit in our community here in Placer County. And I think Sheriff Bonner wants to speak. Sheriff Bonner, as you know, has been a huge proponent of this campaign with United Way over the years. So you'd like to say something. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Sheriff
you,
Bonner.
Placer County Sheriff Ed Bonner.
Yeah,
And
I'm pleased to meet you.
Before I start that, Kirk, I'm so proud of you, this Ironman thing. Robert Wygant and I were so inspired that we signed up for the initial cardboard man competition, and I'm not sure, Robert, we're not sure on the details yet, but I think they fold us up and recycle us, but it'll be great. I have. I want to thank the board. I want to thank David Bosch, our CEO, for bringing the program back. This is really important. This is a wonderful opportunity for our county, for our employees to voluntarily give something back. And I think that what's interesting over the last couple of years when it hasn't been here, it's been tough times, really tough times. And we all have a story. We all know people who need a hand, who need help, and who need hope. And a lot, I think, over the last few years, sometimes those people have been our family, our friends, and our coworkers here at Placer County. So to have this program come back, and the truth of the matter, it could not come back Without your support, there's no program without that. And I think I'm excited about it. Because if you think about it, we can make a difference. We, collectively, I think I read somewhere, I wish I would have written it down, but there was a real tragedy where a man thought he couldn't do much, so he did nothing. We can all do a little. And yet, if we all do a little together, we can do some great things. So I just want to thank the CEO's office. I want to thank your board. And I do think that as we roll this out, there may be some fun with it. So anyway, we all know, again, people that need help, that need hope, that need a hand. And by gosh, we have an opportunity now to make a difference collectively, to do something, and I'm really excited to have the program back, and as a longtime supporter, I'm excited to be a part of it again. So thank you all.
Thank you, Sheriff. Anyone else wish to address the board on this item? Then we'll bring it back to the board for approval.
I just want to actually thank the CEO and my fellow board members on this. When I first looked at this item, I thought, oh, that's great, we're adopting a resolution. And then I read the second half of it, which is approve voluntary employee participation in the campaign, and I thought, what? I mean, that's sort of crazy. It's voluntary, and why would we not have been doing this? And so I'm really absolutely delighted that this is in front of us today and that we actually get to take a proactive step to say, yes, let's do this, because I think we all agree that it's critically important. Whatever entity we choose to donate our dollars to, I think it's critically important to take an affirmative action in saying this is a good thing to do. And we as a county, we as a community support this. So I really want to thank everyone who was involved in bringing this forward today. I really appreciate it. And that's a motion.
All right. It's been moved and seconded to approve item 4, County Executive Organizational Development Combined Giving. We're going to adopt a resolution proclaiming October 2013 as Placer County Combined Giving Campaign Month and approve voluntary employee participation in the campaign. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion is moved. Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Better start training that.
Yeah, cardboard man. We will now move into closed session.
The board will now adjourn to closed session to deal with the 2 related items of existing litigation and 1 item of anticipated litigation.
All righty, then we will be back after closed session to give the final closed session report. Thank you.
for the weekend?
Well, we're spending through Friday morning in Healdsburg, and then we're actually going to Oakland to Mills College for the official stuff. But we decided we were going to have a pre-party. Yeah, for 3 days.
Great time of year, should be perfect weather. Should be playing wine over there. The board has returned to closed session, where they discuss the items listed on page 4 of the agenda. Under existing litigation, the two related cases, Sierra Club and Citizens Gridlock, the board granted a final 60-day extension of the stay of the litigation to December 1st to allow the parties to complete settlement discussions. Under anticipated litigation, the board gave direction to staff. That concludes the closed session report.
And that concludes the items on the board agenda today.